Happy lunch hour, gang. All right, the hits just keep on coming, and it doesn't matter what we do. Good luck trying to afford life. What was it, a few days ago, a week ago, I was talking about water bills going up 7 to 10%. Yeah, if you live on the East Coast or in the Midwest, plan on your electric bill going up anywhere from, $25 a month to 35%. I'm not kidding. This is the problem we have with over-regulation. There is a company called PJM, which is the abbreviation for Pennsylvania, Jersey, and Maryland, that controls basically all the electrical distribution of the Northeast and the Midwest, okay? I mean, everywhere from Chicago to New York to Boston down to Baltimore, all right? Whole 9 yards, West Virginia, you pick it in there. And the deal is, they are the ones that are supposed to regulate how much electricity goes in each place. I mean, all these states sharing electricity productivity and then transferring it along the PJM system to wherever it's needed. The problem we get is PJM has decided it's a hell of a lot more important to be profitable, or uber profitable, than to actually provide the electricity for people. In typical liberal fashion, as they did, I mean, you got to think of what the majority of governments in the Northeast and Chicago, Pennsylvania, whole 9 yards there is. Well, we get regulation issues. And we had to go to this massive green energy deal, right? We can't build coal plants, we can't build nuclear plants, we can't build gas plants. We need to do everything with solar and wind. Okay. Well, what happens is PJM, for any new producer of electricity that wants to be built, has to go inspect and do a feasibility study and a whole 9 yards on this, right? It's not that crazy difficult to do when, we want to build a new coal plant or we want to build a new nuclear plant. But when you want to build a whole bunch of new solar farms, that it takes up a lot more real estate to produce a solar farm than it does a coal plant, for example, that would produce the same amount of energy. That means there's a whole lot more sites that have to be inspected, approved, et cetera, et cetera. You go into the whole offshore wind program that everybody was talking about for, 5 or 6 years, and there was all the fights about killing whales and the shrimpers and fishermen and everything like this, right? Until that plan, basically, a lot of it got scrapped. You don't get that time back. All the time they spent doing this feasibility studies and inspections and everything on these offshore wind facilities was time that wasn't spent approving land to build a reliable power plant. So now what you have is a whole lot more people. Let's think about, again, all the illegals that, I don't know, let's say New York City, how many illegals are in there? They all use electricity. What was it? I forget the name of the town in Ohio. That was Springfield or whatever? That was literally taken over. That more than half the population was illegals. Remember that story from about a year ago? Okay, all those people use more electricity. So now what we had was more demand than we had supply. Oh, and let's not forget all the crypto miners. That uses a whole lot of electricity. Or all these AI data centers that they're talking about putting in that are going to use a boatload of energy. So now what you have is excess demand for minimal supply. And of course, economics 101 again, we talk about when there isn't enough, the price goes up. So now if you want to keep your lights on or have hot water from your hot water heater, electric obviously, keep the air conditioning running this summer, it's going to cost you more money, which doesn't bode well for all those people that live in more rural areas, for example, because where do you think the energy is going to get diverted to? Well, they're going to pump more energy into the metropolises than they are out into the rural areas. Okay. Do you start to smell 15-minute city conversations coming in here? Well, we can't get electricity out there. If you want electricity, you can always move closer to the city. Getting my point. This brings up yet the 1,000,000th reason why I have been a big promoter of personal solar, okay? Because if they shut the power off to your local provider and there is none coming through the grid, at least you can still keep the lights on, keep the fan running, or whatever that you need to do. Temporarily, and this starts in June, guys, so you have, 6 weeks to deal with this? Temporarily, you can fix it. Come June, plan on your bills going up. Ohio is one of the ones that's going to get hit the worst. They are the ones that are supposed to expect a 35% increase in electricity. Even $25 a month, you're on fixed income, you're collecting your Social Security check, I don't know, $1,100, $1,200 a month. $25 a month, that could be a few days worth of groceries. Tank of gas. Think about it. This is the insanity that we've got going on. We have spent so little building the infrastructure, rebuilding the infrastructure. I mean, you think about the grid that's in the United States, okay? How old it is. I mean, look at some of these old houses and stuff like that, right? You think, oh my God, the wiring in that house isn't up to code. Tell me the wiring in the power lines that are running up along power poles or underground in your area. Tell me when those were put in and what codes they are up to. 1940s? 1950s? Well, it's underground. It won't catch fire. Okay. This is the problem. We had the infrastructure bill. Remember that under Joe Biden? How much money got spent on infrastructure? Nothing. But hey, we increased the deficit by, a couple of $1 trillion to pay for that and didn't do anything for infrastructure. Well, we'll go do a couple more look-sees about solar farms. Was it one of Obama's big solar farm deals that he gave billions of dollars in subsidies for and tax breaks and everything? Shut down last week because it doesn't work. Okay? It didn't meet the demand for what the cost was. You lose money enough and eventually you go out of business. That's what's happening to all these solar farms. Think about it. We talk about this when we do giveaways. The cost of your little solar generator that you have in your house, and it was $800 3 years ago, and now it's $300. Prices have come down, right? Guess when they wound up buying all this stuff that now they can't recoup the money for because the electricity demand is too high and they can't generate enough, so now they got to try to buy more, which now with all the trade war with China makes that even tougher. I've talked many times about the parts in your local transformer, that's sitting down at the end of the street or something like that, come from China, and those are on a 2-year backlog, and none of this got planned for ahead of time. We passed the bill, we borrowed the money for it, we just didn't buy it. Well, now we got to fix all this stuff. We got to figure out how to do more power generation. But until we do that, we'll just screw over Ma and Pa and raise their bills. 25, 30, 50 bucks. They won't mind. Americans have money to burn, right? At least that's what all the foreigners think. Pinball out.